Thank you for tuning in to part 2 of our open house pre-enrollment information session. Part 1 looked at how students go about pre-enrollment and enrolling at Emmy Lazert. We looked at information for current EPSB students, students new to EPSB, and we talked a little bit about the random selection process. This portion, part 2, looks at what to expect when students get into Emmy Lazert, how they progress through their high school courses, and what students need to graduate from high school. First off, it's really important to know that once you get enrolled at Lazert, you're not alone from there. There's plenty of teachers, of course, to help you along the way, and there's also a student services department to help students with high school planning, planning for their future, connecting to tutors, connecting to supports for personal counseling and mental health, information about careers, information also about post-secondary events. In addition to our 4 teacher counselors that we also have an Indigenous liaison worker, an in-school settlement practitioner, and a youth worker right here to support all students when they need it. We have a lot of questions from students and parents about what the first week of school looks like when you start at Emmy Lazert. Keep in mind that a lot of information is posted to School Zone over late August through the summer. And then also you usually find a mail out that comes to your house giving you all the information about school startup towards the end of August and beginning of September. Commonly, we look at some of these fun events for the first week. Students are provided with their timetables and get the opportunity to get their photo ID taken. There's also fee payment and timetable changes if necessary. Commonly, we have Emmy Lazert student mentors there to support students who are new and maybe feeling unfamiliar with their surroundings and needing someone to show them around or lend a hand. Also, the first week is what we call our week of welcome, and it is a time to come and really feel a sense of what it's like to be a student at Lazert. There's often fun events and a lot of social interactions. Many students also wonder, how do they progress through high school? And when we look at courses such as English, social, math, and science, what do all these numbers mean that are associated with those classes? So here's a little bit of a breakdown for your information. When you come to high school, you'll encounter courses with the subject name, of course. So again, in this case as an example, English, math, social, science. And then after that will follow a number, typically 10, 20, or 30. These numbers denote the grade level. So, for instance, courses known by the number 10 are, of course, grade 10 level classes. Courses known by the number 20 are grade 11 classes. And courses known by the number 30 are grade 12 classes. You'll also often see a series of dashes or markings that come after that initial course level and number. So you might see 10-1, 10-2, 10C, 20-1, 20-2, 30-1, and 30-2. These numbers, the -1s and -2s, denote the level of academic rigor and also a certain pathway to potentially a career or a post-secondary program that a student's interested in entering. Keep in mind that counselors and teachers are really great guides for helping you determine which levels are most appropriate for students. And we're always here to help. We understand that navigating high school can be sometimes a little bit tricky. In a moment, we'll have the chance to look at common progressions for English, math, social, and science. And we'll talk a little bit about the course numbers and markings that were talked about in the last slide. As a starting point, it's important to recognize that in high school, your success opens doors to where you want to go in the future, be this a certain post-secondary program or a certain career idea. So, doing well right now in grade 9 will get you on the track that you want to be in and make it easier for you to progress through your core subjects and get you into the programs that you want. It's also important to recognize that students' success in high school depends upon them completing and actually passing the classes that they're enrolled in. So, students' objectives through high school is to pass classes and to earn and accumulate credits. Each class that a student passes is typically worth 5 credits. In any given year, a student can typically take a maximum of 8 classes. So 8 classes times 5 credits per year gives roughly about 40 credits per year. Over the course of 3 years, a student can then accumulate about 120 credits if they take a full load and are successful in all their classes. Keep in mind that each student needs to earn 100 credits. We'll talk a little bit more about the graduation components at the end of this video. But for now, it's important to recognize that students must pass their classes as they get into high school in order to ensure that they're on track for graduation and to enter any post-secondary opportunities that they might be interested in. It's also important to recognize that currently grade 9 teachers are working with students and assessing them and helping them decide which place will be the best place to start when they begin their high school journey. So it's an important time to talk with your child's grade 9 teacher and ask them if they're on track and if there's any areas for growth that will help them get to the place that they want to be for beginning in high school. In a second, you'll see that there's many different progressions through high school, and your grade 9 teacher will be a great source of information in advising you where your child should begin. The following visuals are a great recognition of the progressions that students take through high school, beginning here first with English. Know that we look at a student's grade 9 mark and then allow them to access the starting point of either English 10-1, 10-2, or 10-4. Typically, as stated before, English 10-1 is a more academic stream for students who may want to study in university. Commonly, if you want to go to a 4-year bachelor's program at any of the local universities, they will require a student to progress to English 30-1 and pass that class as part of their prerequisites for entry into a program. Also, you see here the English -2 stream, which is another one that's commonly used for students in meeting their high school graduation requirements or for entering community and technical colleges locally around Edmonton. The English -4 stream is typically known as our knowledge and employability stream, and usually a good fit for students who might be struggling with this subject and may need some additional support. Students in this stream are typically working towards a certificate of high school completion rather than their high school diploma. For social studies, the progressions through high school look very similar as they do for English. They're almost identical. It's also important to recognize that the 30-1 subject is one that's commonly used for students as a prerequisite to many post-secondary programs, such as 4-year university degrees. The progression through high school math classes look as follows. Students entering from grade 9 who have achieved a mark of over 65% are usually recommended for what you see here called Math 10C, which stands for Math 10 Common, which is a little bit more of a challenging academic course. Students can also enter at either our -3 or -4 levels, depending on their level of proficiency from grade 9. As a student progresses into grade 11, they can choose a subject stream that is more specific to a post-secondary program they may want to enter. For example, the -1 students typically study pre-calculus and may have some notion that they want to study sciences when they attend university. Students in the -2 stream often study statistics-based math, commonly associated with professions such as teaching, nursing, a Bachelor of Arts, law, and that type of thing. Students from the -3 stream are often interested in doing more practical type things. As an example of that, careers in the trades usually utilize this type of math. High school sciences look as follows. And similarly to math, students often begin in what's called Science 10 General, or Science 14 or Science 10-4, depending on how well they did out of their grade 9 science class and what their teacher recommendation is. If a student successfully completes Science 10 in their grade 10 year, they can then advance on to more specialized type of sciences. They may elect to study biology, chemistry, or physics, or may study sciences in general, focusing on a little bit of each of the disciplines. It's common for students to take 2 of the sciences listed under the grade 11 column. So they may study, for example, biology and chemistry, or chemistry and physics together. It's important to recognize that no 2 students are the same though. So each student may choose classes that's based on their own unique abilities and their own pathway later on in post-secondary and for a certain career. In relation to graduation, students must earn a total of 100 credits. If you remember before, I mentioned that each course that a student passes is worth 5 credits. So they need to accumulate 100 total credits throughout their 3-year high school career. In addition to getting 100 credits, they also need to have an English at the 30 level, either -1 or -2, social -1 or -2, 30, a math at least at the 20 level, a science also at the 20 level, a physical education 10 class, also a class called COM, or Career and Life Management. This is commonly taken in a student's grade 11 year. In addition to those things, they need 10 credits in option classes. A great thing to do is check out all of the different options that are available at tonight's open house, and you'll get a better sense for these courses and what they entail. It's important to recognize that as it pertains to graduation, a student needs 10 credits, so 2 of these type of classes in order to graduate. Last, a student needs to have 10 credits at the 30 level in addition to English and social studies. And this can be from any discipline. It can be an additional math or science course at the 30 level, or it can be additional physical education, fine arts, CTS, or language classes. It's totally up to you. A good strategy as you approach high school is starting with the end in mind. So, although students are entering high school right out of grade 9 and they may not necessarily understand what they want to do, it's an important time to start discovering some of the ideas and options that are out there in preparation. This helps students make sure that they're on the right track for graduation and that they're in the streams that are going to challenge them to be their best and lead to open doors later on after they leave high school. Another great thing to think about right now is what post-secondary programs are out there and what students may need to access them. So, for instance, if your child knows that they want to be an engineer, well, it might be a good time to research what courses they'll need to get into such a program and what the competitive averages are. This helps students develop the habits that they may need to access certain programs and to ensure that they're on track if they have a dream that they're trying to achieve. Remember that there's a lot of staff, including counselors, at Emmy Lazard who can help you with this along the way. You don't have to do it alone. But it's a great way to frame a conversation right now as your child is about to leave junior high school and enter high school. It's important to think about what the future holds for them and how they can get there most effectively. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's presentation. We hope there's been some information here that's been useful to you. Remember that if you have follow-up questions, there's many different ways to interact with Student Services staff at our online open house, March 11th from 6 till 8th. Additionally, you can use this phone number to connect with a counselor at the school if you have further questions about pre-enrollment or high school progressions. Thank you and welcome to Lazard.